Free Guy. This is a movie starring Ryan Reynolds where he plays a non-playable character in a video game that spawns its own artificial intelligence and comes to life. This movie is kind of derivative. It's very silly. Not every joke lands, and yet it's my favorite movie of the year so far. I found it completely charming, completely endearing, very, very funny, and it starts with the lead performance by Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is truly a comedic chameleon. I think he's one of the best comedic actors working today. I can't imagine this movie being as good as it was if there was anybody else in the lead role. He plays this role so earnestly. Now, it's not just him. Like, I thought it would just be him, but everyone in this is really having a lot of fun, and it's where I give the director, Sean Levy, a lot of credit. It seems like everyone was very focused on what this movie was trying to be. Like, this is not a movie that's going to win any Academy Awards necessarily, but I think that when you look at what the intent of the director was, he was trying to make a very fun, very light summer movie. And I think that when you have these actors who are all very committed, you end up with a film that I think is going to be kind of endearing. I think that a lot of people are really going to connect with this thing because it seems like fun in Hollywood over the last several years has become kind of a lost art form. This movie is genuinely really, really fun, and I laughed very often. There's a lot of very funny sight gags. They do a lot with this premise, a lot of funny jokes in the background. It's been a long time since I've done this. I may end up going back and seeing this again just to see like background jokes that I might have missed. There's something about this premise, and it's where I give the director, again, a lot of credit, that connected with me, and like by the end, like, it almost moved me. I did not expect that to be the case, but there's something about the message of this movie, and it's corny. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's not a lot of subtlety here by any means, but its heart is so clearly in the right place that I think a lot of people are going to fall in love with this. Like, I don't love this movie, but I think a lot of people will. The difference between this and the Suicide Squad for me is that when the Suicide Squad's jokes weren't working, the movie wasn't working. I didn't really care about those characters. The cast was fine. They were all giving good performances, but I was not invested necessarily in what was going on. Here, even when the jokes don't land, this premise worked way more for me than I expected it to, and that's the result of a really charming, really fun cast that plays their roles perfectly. It's not a perfect movie. Like I said, a lot of the jokes don't land. Taika Waititi, who I adore, he's one of my favorite directors working. He's very over the top as kind of the villain of this movie. There's several cameos in here. One was really funny near the end. I'm not going to say who it was, but it genuinely made me laugh. I felt like this movie was so well-intentioned. And yet there's a part in the middle of this movie, there's a cameo in the middle of this film that kind of throws all that away. And I was very surprised. Like, all of a sudden the movie became a little bit mean-spirited to me. Now, it moves at such a good pace that it quickly recovers, and you're like, okay, I can move on from that, and it becomes the very lighthearted, fun summer movie that it was intended to be. But I was surprised that it kind of took like this weird brief detour because of a cameo in the middle of the movie. The movie is silly. Okay, I'll just say straight up, the movie's probably pretty stupid. Like, I don't know much about how the world of video games works. You know, I'm a very casual gamer, but I can acknowledge, like, I'm sure there's a million, like, logistical problems with this movie in terms of, like, how video games are made. Like, I'm not going to act like it remotely makes sense, but again, it's where you go back to, like, what the intent of the director was. He's not trying to make a movie that is some expose about, like, how video games are made nowadays. It's meant to be a very light, a very honest summer movie with a lot of jokes, and it works. It works way more than it doesn't. By no means is it a classic, but it wouldn't shock me if this thing made my top 10 list at the end of the year. This is an 8 out of 10. Really enjoyed Free Guy. I had a good feeling coming into this movie, and yeah, I was correct. This is a very fun, very enjoyable, very light summer movie. So that'll do it for this review. You can follow me on Twitter at Castellani2014. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get those watch hours up. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Peace and happiness.